All right. So welcome in, Sarah and Grant. So great to have you here today.
How'd you guys meet?
How did I meet these guys? Yes. Well, oddly enough, the four of us were all at the Mary Claire Haber
Yes.
book signing.
Yep.
These two guys were two of the
very few guys that were actually in that audience, I might add.
I think there was like 5, maybe.
Yes. And so then after that, I actually was able to, with Dr. Morgan, get in touch with Sarah, and we've started doing some personal training. So that is super exciting. We've really enjoyed that.
Yeah, it's been great getting to know you and understanding how we have synergies and can work together.
Yes.
Exactly.
And it is such a needed collaboration
Yeah.
between medicine and personal training. It is just
Right.
so necessary.
Everybody's on the same page, it seems like.
Yeah. And we're definitely better together than working separate.
Yeah.
So we worked for years too.
Yes.
Exactly.
So tell us a little bit about you guys. What inspired you to get into the fitness industry?
You want to go first?
Oh, yeah, I can go first.
Yeah.
So for me, it was kind of a little bit different probably than most. Okay, so fitness was not really a big thing for me, but sports was, right? So, but I had the reverse of what most of my clients probably had. I was really small and skinny and never was able to kind of perform at the highest level because of like such my small stature, which everybody's always like, oh, that must be nice. But gaining weight was always a problem for me. So, I was fortunate to play collegiate sports, but I was always kind of small framed. And in the process of doing everything that everybody's told me, hey, you'll gain weight doing this, eat pizza, do this, I was having the reverse effect. So after a couple of years of trying all these things everybody was telling me to do, my older brother, he has no problem with having lean muscle mass and was into fitness a lot, just said, hey, let me tell you what you're doing wrong. You're doing things that don't fit you. They don't mold you correctly. They're not things that are actually designed to help you gain weight, and you're working out wrong. So he kind of took me under his wing, and I saw a massive shift in not only confidence, but I started gaining weight. People started noticing like the changes, and then it helped me in my performance inside of the sports that I was playing there in college. So it really made a big impact. And so I really started thinking like, this is something that other people are probably struggling with too. So that's kind of how I started getting into fitness, was in that space when it came to like making changes in your body and health and stuff of that nature.
Excellent.
For me, it might be a little bit different. I've gone through life playing sports and being competitive, but I don't feel like I really understood wellness and fitness until, midlife, which I think is like a lot of people. So, I was married and had kids and thought I could run my way to a better body and start to feel better. In fact, I would say I didn't even know I felt bad until after I joined Better You Fitness. And that was about 8 years ago. And I started learning about nutrition, strength training, which I had never done, even as an athlete, had never done strength training. And all of those things, led to confidence that I didn't have before. I remember coming to Better You Fitness, sitting on a bench and telling Grant, I'm probably the healthiest fat person you've ever known. And there's no way I can even lose 10 pounds. And Grant's like, you're going to lose 10 pounds. I joined the Better You Fitness 90-day challenge. And that was 8 years ago and, 50 pounds ago. And it just really did change my life. And so newfound confidence, newfound physique. And for me, knowing that I didn't know that was out there has really pushed me to learn new skills so that I can share that with other people. My goal really is to pay it forward and to help other people who were probably just like me, thinking, I'm just going to look this way, I'm just going to feel this way my whole life, to learn, right, there's another way. There is like you can change. Even in your 40s, you can change.
Yes.
Yeah, training's been a love of mine now, getting to meet people and understand what they're going through and how to help them.
Okay, so you talked a little bit about the 90-day challenge. So tell us a little bit about what you offer at Better You Fitness.
Yeah. So when we came up with the idea and when I was brainstorming about my gym, the idea was not to overcomplicate it. I'd seen that already in the fitness space a lot, overcomplications of too many things. So the programs that we offer usually are one-on-one based stuff, which a lot of people enjoy. And then we have group classes, and then we have small, what we consider like niche programs inside of that are based off of different things that are happening in the world. Our 90-day challenge we've been doing it since 2014. People just wanted a little bit of competition and some stuff packaged together that really made sense for them. So mainly what we offer is one-on-ones, we offer groups, and then we offer some of these small programs outside of that, and just try to keep it simple for people. Fitness is already complicated enough in the world, we feel like. So like the more simplistic we can make it, the better it was for a lot of our clients when they came to the facility.
That's true. And we really do believe like back to the basics, like eating whole foods, doing strength training. And so we try to make things easy for people in our programs as well, so they don't get overwhelmed. But yeah, we offer quite a few programs, but all with the same philosophy of simple, easy, and really helps people understand they can do it. They can.
Keeping it consistent and keeping everybody continuing to move forward. Awesome.
So I know you're doing this new program that is, I think from my understanding, is similar to like the 90-day challenge, but a little bit focused toward women in menopause. Is that right? Or perimenopause?
Yeah, absolutely. So through our other programs, we've learned, actually a lot of women come to our programs or come to the facility and then start asking questions about how to handle menopause. And Grant, we joke and say like he probably is the most knowledgeable man about menopause. They come to me for questions. I'm like, well, actually Grant knows a lot, but the program itself is designed really to get people moving in the right direction actually sooner, so that when menopause actually hits, that they're already in a good spot from a wellness and fitness perspective. So our goal is to catch people, in the beginning of perimenopause so that we can help educate them around nutrition, start building lean muscle to help support bone health and all of those things, and really just give those women a support group and knowledge to really kind of make it through the aging process. So we think about menopause. Yes, it is a time. It's going to happen to everyone. But how do we help people age gracefully and really limit the symptoms so that they can kind of have a good experience? And so again, we really focus on nutrition, strength training, supplementation. And then one thing that's unique about our program is we offer a CGM, or a continuous glucose monitoring system, to help women who are maybe finding it a little bit challenging to lose weight. So those are some of the highlights. Do you think I missed anything?
No, that's mainly it. It's something that, again, in the 20 plus years of doing this, I've had clients I've had for 10 years. So they were perimenopausal when they started, and they've started progressing into that. And I've been working with them for the last 10 years. And we realize like there's just nothing for women to talk about, or it's been like taboo, or they've been ignored.
They just don't know where to turn either,
Yeah.
A lot of women just don't know where to go. They're looking for it and they just can't find it, actually, sometimes.
Yes. And yeah, we see that a lot. I mean, even in my mind.
And men, women and men.
Yeah. I tell people all the time, like my wife is going to go through it. My mom's went through it. So like hearing them and then hearing how they're getting treated, it's like one of those things. I was like, okay, there's something to it. So again, Sarah started kind of looking into it too more. And I started saying, hey, we should definitely figure this out some more and figure out how we can help these ladies.
Yeah. And just letting people know, like, it's okay to talk about. I would say in the last 2 weeks, I've had 2 women reach out to me very specifically about menopause. Like, I've seen you're posting about it. How can you help? And so I think just opening up the conversation, and like I said, trying to help people understand how all the different components, nutrition, strength training, supplementation, can help them, go through that and have a more tolerable experience as they age. So yeah, it's something we're really excited about, and hope we can get the word out so that we can help more people, really.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, excellent.
Right.
I love that you're using the CGM, because I think that is something that so many people are missing, and it's not accessible. It's getting more accessible.
Yeah.
But even people who are diabetic don't always have the opportunity to get it with their insurance.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's just invaluable information.
Great information. Just another tool.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think too, with the CGM, it's probably one of the first pieces or devices that can help people really have that individual accountability too, of, okay, I ate this. This is my number. This is my blood sugar number. I did that. I did this. So it also offers a level of accountability that's never been there before. So, and Grant's really been talking about the CGM for probably a few years, actually.
Yeah. We started using it a couple of years ago and really found it fascinating. But like you said, it was challenging for people to get or it was extremely expensive for just regular people to get a hold of. So like we were paying quite a bit of money to get access to, you know, Dexcoms and stuff like that. But it was like, hey, this information is worth it to kind of figure this out. So yeah.
Right.
So Grant, what were some of the things before perimenopause was a big topic? What were things that you were noticing with your clients in middle age where they were struggling?
Yeah, so it's always been the sleep aspect. Obviously, the hot flashes is always the biggest topic they always talk about. But when we would start asking more questions, I would notice, hey, like you're also struggling with sleep. Okay. And then it was like, you know, it was that weight gain, which is always the one that the women, they talk about the weight gain and the hot flashes. But when start going back and talking to them more, it's, you know, bad sleep. Then they're starting to get some anxiety issues. You know, they've noticed their cholesterol has now changed and their blood work. So, you know, those are some of the like markers. The hot flashes is, again, always a topic they tell me first, but there's some of these other like hidden things that I've, you know, over the time of doing research, I've learned like there's other markers that, you know, hot flashes, I've never experienced one, but I hear that they're miserable. Although that is miserable, I'm like the breaking of a hip or having those issues is going to be way worse probably than a hot flash could be, you know, based off of the knowledge I know about. I've talked about people that have broken hips before. So, you know, those were a lot of things that I started hearing them say. Low energy obviously was always the big one too. And so it was starting to impact, you know, their daily activity, their life with their family and their moods and stuff like that. And they always thought, okay, it's just the hot flash. And again, they were being ignored and just said, hey, just suck it up, deal with it, things like that.
Right.
So yeah, so that's usually what all of it kind of starts with. And then we kind of dive deeper and find more things inside of that. Yeah.
Sure. Have you noticed we're going to be doing some more conversation around andropause? Is there anything with your male clients that you found?
I haven't. So here's the thing. I probably have 5 to 8 male clients.
True.
I don't,
Fully female.
you know, like a primary amount of people that I work with are females. The men that I do have come in and like, they're like, I give up, man. Like I'm at the verge. I give up. Like most of them are pretty stubborn. They don't want to come see a male, but once they've reached that limit, it's because I've found that like, hey, they're at the breaking point. So typically they're having some testosterone issues. And most of the guys that come in, I'm trying to find doctors and people, hey, you need to go talk to a doctor or somebody that can help run this stuff and not run your standard stuff that your doctor would run, but run a more extensive lab like panel than just the standard small stuff.
Right.
And asking people that know how to read this, not sure, you know, nothing against traditional doctors, but most of them don't know how to read it and they don't know how to combine the two things together.
Right. Or if they see it in the normal range, okay, it's normal. I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah, normal, fine, and they're not looking at this in comparison with other markers and things like that. So that's that stuff that usually most of those guys, I'm trying to find a place for them to go and like, hey, get an extensive panel done so that way we can look at a little bit of all of it, you know? So,
Right. Yeah. Yeah. That's kind of what we do too. You know, we've got primarily our majority of our clients are women. But yeah, you do have a few of the men that they're looking for the improvements, the health improvements, the short term and the long term goals. So you know, it just depends on what they're looking for. But, yeah.
Yeah, and we know for sure that sarcopenia, losing muscle, happens to everyone.
Starts early.
And so that's why strength training is just so important.
Yeah, and men get osteoporosis just like women.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
Let's see. Could you share a success story from one of your 90-day challenges that was particularly stand out to you?
Yeah, there's quite a few. I mean, obviously what I always tell people is the big success stories are people that have like taken that information and kind of like went with it. You know, obviously Sarah's a big success story. Like I've had a ton of people that have left and they have been able to continue like that knowledge to family and friends like that. You know, probably one of my biggest ones from the male perspective is I had a guy come in and I remember he told me, hey, I've pulled into your parking lot probably 10 times and have like just sat in the parking lot and didn't have enough to come in. And I remember him pulling in. I was like, this truck keeps pulling in the parking lot. Well, he was like 400 pounds. He was extremely overweight. And he was like, hey, I want to do this, but like, I don't want anybody to see me. So he was in like this hiding stage. So we progressively got him to a point where he eventually was like, okay, now I'm comfortable. going into this 90 days. So he kind of had a little bit of a starting stage before he started a 90. And yeah, he wound up losing like 48 pounds in the 90 days with us. And then he continued losing weight. He moved to Texas and he like wound up doing personal training at a small gym as a side gig. Cause he just, again, was able to have this awesome story that he shared.
That's awesome.
And I've had the other one that's awesome is a lady she was 50. She came to me and said, I want to be able to do 5 push-ups when I get done with this thing. And I would like to lose 50 pounds, but the 5 push-ups is really my thing. She was a busy mom, in her 50s. So menopause is there. Right. And so she lost 50 pounds, was able to do 10 push-ups. And then like 2 months later ran like a 5K. So I have tons of them probably, but those are some people that really stand out that were amazing to be a part of that entire journey for them.
Yeah. I mean, for the people who complete the 90-day challenge, they're all a success story. I mean, I can't think of anybody who's completed the program that didn't reach some of their goal, even losing weight, feeling better, sleeping better, even just their clothes fitting better. So, I mean, the stories really are endless of, individual successes for each of those participants.
Yes. I know my goal is a pull-up. So
Yeah.
that
Everybody's got goals. That's what drives people. That's what motivates people. I want to be healthier. I want to lose weight, but it's like I want to be able to do that pull up, or I want to do this set up, or want to hang for a while. So
Yeah.
it varies.
I don't know if I've shared this with you, but that was my goal at one point too. And I remember telling Grant that, and he's like, you can do it. You can do it. You'll be able to get there. You're going to have to lose some weight, and this is what we're going to do, but I won't get you to a pull up. And for sure, you can get there.
I love it.
That's awesome.
Yes, very good. So I know you've already talked about nutrition a little bit, but tell us a little bit more about how you work nutrition into your training programs.
I think we really pride ourselves on our nutrition components to our programs. A lot of gyms, it's just around strength training. And we always say you just can't outwork a bad diet. So, I mean, unless you plan to be in the gym 3 or 4 hours a day, you can't outwork a bad diet. So that was for sure the game changer for me and most people. I thought I ate healthy, and you might think you're eating the right things, but what I learned from Grant and then I'm able to share with other people is what you eat is important, but how you eat it, when you eat it, and the combination is, it is really it will change what you look like and how you feel. So, we don't get too fancy, meaning we still believe in whole foods, but Grant can expand upon it. It's a lot about how you eat things, when you eat things, and the combination of it.
Right. So true.
That's the thing we always say too, like people have different lifestyles. I always want to know, like, hey, what are some of the things that you really enjoy? Because you're going to go back to them. So we try to meet people kind of in that sense of like, hey, like what's your eating style? What are your routines for that eating style? And try not to change that a whole lot unless it's just something that's just absolutely like derailing them. And I tell people all the time, sometimes your nutrition right now is what it is right now, but maybe later it's going to be a different piece. So we kind of move through them with them in that path. I know a lot of places that just like, this is it. And this is the only way you eat. And this is how it'll always be. And I tell people that's just most of the time not realistic. And it's going to have to change as they kind of change, through menopause having an issue or some sort of lack of, movement or whatever that may be. We're seeing that even now with everybody being snowed in where we're at, like people's attitudes and their energy is a lot different because they're moving less inside of their home even more and eating some poor things and stuff like that. So
right.
One other awesome nugget that I have learned and Grant shared is that calories dictate how much you weigh, macros dictate what you're going to look like, and your micronutrients are going to dictate how you feel. And so that's a lot for people. We don't tell everybody all of those details, but in general, when we talk with people and kind of meet them where they're at, talk about what their goals are, we kind of understand, are you trying to look a certain way? Are you trying to feel a certain way? And so we can help simplify that in a way to help them reach their goals. But, again, you can't really replace nutritious whole foods. So the other thing is Grant's really great at taking recipes that we find and like tailoring them to be tasty and healthy to, maybe recipes that people like, but in a different, finding a healthy, better macro based format for that,
Right.
for that healthy item. Yeah. So
Yeah, the calories in, calories out counts, but it also matters what kind of the calorie quantity or quality that you're having. Also, is it 100 calories of bread or 100 calories of broccoli? So it varies.
Yeah, there's a big difference for sure.
And you guys have a meal program too that you offer.
Yeah. Well, because that was the thing too. So I've done a fitness competition before, and I had a trainer that kind of guided me through that. And the food was so boring. It was miserable. And I was like, there's got to be. So that's always been my thing. Like, here's the problem. There's got to be a better way. So even the meal prep, we started that with like, people were like, I think I would eat that. But granted, if I buy all that stuff and I don't like it. So I just like, hey, well, here, I made an extra, try it. Yeah. Oh, I started noticing people were like, and so again, we are like, hey, try it. If you like it, here's the recipe. Yep. And so we have some people that they try our meals, they like them. Here's the recipe. I would love for them to buy them from us. They're buying them from convenience, but most people are also wanting to see like, is this something that I could add into my diet? Is it too exhausting to make and too many ingredients, or is it worth it? So
yeah. And I also try to stay with kind of an 80-20 rule for a lot of people. Can you do this 80% of the time, and 20% of the time you can have fun or do something off of what you normally should be doing.
Yeah.
So keeps them honest.
That's right.
Motivated.
Yep.
So let's see. How about community? Obviously, you're doing these challenges and you've got a group of people working together. How have you seen that changes the dynamic?
Yeah.
I will let Sarah take this one here, mainly because she's been there, right? So she can kind of speak from the insider.
Yeah. I mean, I've lived in Lee Summit for 20 years and it's a great community. But when you come together on a goal on something, like it becomes something really special. So, at Better You Fitness, when I first started, it was a bit intimidating, even though I love sports and I love to do like competitions, it was intimidating. So I very quickly learned though that I had people waiting for me at the gym. There was a level of accountability. Like I knew when I came to a class, there were going to be other people there who maybe either, was feeling the same way I was, or they would be inspiring to me. So the community is great. Grant uses social media for private groups inside of that too. So I just feel like there was never a time where I either needed support or had a question that I couldn't get answered. So, and I think one of the things that's really great too about our 90-day challenge is we have past participants who will come back and do it again, or be a mentor to people coming through the program again. And that's just really unique. It makes the program very special. And it's really easy to come to the gym and hold yourself accountable when you know that somebody's going to be saying, hey, where were you yesterday? So, those are the things I love about it.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Let's see here. How about, what do you guys do to kind of stay up on new methods and
Programs,
research and things like that?
Yeah. So I mean, I love my mind is a science mind. I love researching stuff. I love trying to find people that are in spaces of more like new things, they're doing it, and try to just get in contact with them. I find that a lot of people that are starting stuff or learning more about stuff want to give some information out. Like, I loved it whenever Sarah was telling me she was working with you guys. So I was like, listen, like doctors know some stuff, and especially ones that are not like traditional doctors, or people that are in the health space that are kind of like looking at it from a different perspective, are always great people to like pick their brain. I was like, so, I'm always watching podcasts and trying to keep up on that stuff. From the training perspective, I always am watching stuff on the West Coast and East Coast. Those people aren't the same people in the Midwest, but some of those fitness concepts, and even sometimes some of the gimmicky stuff that's starting, it's nice to see it. So when it shows up here, it's like, okay, I know what this already is. I know who it's for and who it's not for, and stuff like that. So that's how we try to stay up to date on stuff. Even go into the menopause thing, like is the thing that's like, I'm not sure about this, but like, why not? Like, just go to it, learn.
Right.
So
You're always going to pick something up.
Yeah. Right. So like, that's kind of always been my approach with a lot of stuff. I mean, I've read a lot of certification books and stuff like that, just to read them, just to be like, okay, what is this? And
networking and collaboration, I think, is it though. Like between both of us, we tend to know quite a few people, and Grant's always taught us too, like, hey, I know what I know, but somebody else is going to know something. Let's collaborate with them. Let's partner with them. Again, this is not such a niche space that like there's not room for everybody. So we're constantly trying to like go to events or collaborate with somebody to learn something new. But social media, it's big. There's no way around it. And you can learn so much from it. I mean, there's the fun edutainment side of it too, but we've learned a ton through social media and collaborated that way too.
Yeah. Sometimes there can be a lot of noise, but that's certainly, you got to take it all for granted. But yeah, there's a lot of information out there in that space.
Well, and I always bring this up. It's kind of funny. And I've never really told anybody this, and I've told Sarah, maybe one other person. But like, I've always been big on like, okay, so from a male's perspective, I've always been like, cool. A lot of my clients are females. Like when I was younger, used to get Cosmopolitans, which is a female magazine back in the day. Yep. And I would read it because I'm like, what are women reading and what are they talking about? Because I want to know what they're talking about. So I think that if people would kind of take that approach on like, okay, so that's the same with the menopause. Like, what is obviously I'm not going through it, but it's like, okay, so what are these women reading? And so then from the social media aspect, your algorithm gets into that, and I'm getting menopause stuff. And I know that I'm always talking like, hey, writer, what's your social media saying? Because they're only targeting females, so I'm not getting to see what you get to see. Can I see your phone real quick? And so that's that part again of my research side of like, I want to know how the women are feeling about it, and then I want to know like what is the solution that's being given to them, if there is one. And sometimes it doesn't seem like there's as much, and it's getting better. So that's also a perk for sure.
Yeah.
So
true. One of the things that's probably just the best is that we do try to just meet people where they're at, understand, build relationships with people, and then take our philosophy around fitness and then apply it and help people with tips and tricks that work for them where they're at. So, that's it's not the basics of fitness are a one size fits all, but each person is different. And so we really try to apply it to people in a way that helps them reach their goals.
Yeah. Whenever somebody comes to see, I'm sure that they've got their own specific goal that they're wanting to achieve. And then, it's good they can find somebody that can help them and direct them. It's like, okay, this is where you got to go, or you got to do this or that. And so there's also a lot of avenues and a lot of referral base that you guys probably have too, to be able to help direct those folks for those reasons.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, sure. And we love to, we don't always think we know everything. Just like Grant was saying earlier, like we strongly suggest people, work with individuals like yourself.
It's constantly changing.
Yeah. To understand just their basics of health and get baselines. And then, we can obviously help them with unique goals, but we love to collaborate from an overall wellness perspective.
Right. Yeah. I'm sure that over the next couple of years, things are going to change significantly, like crazy. So they'd always
learning
get
so much.
Yep.
And, even I think the hormone situation and the way that the conversation around perimenopause has changed through the generations, just like, now we have one whole generation that missed out on hormone replacement.
Right. So, but it's just incredible. So, but hopefully people will just continue to look and try to find, don't give up, find somebody that will listen to you and someone that will help you. So, because it's out there, the help's out there.
Yeah,
it for sure is. And again, as long as we feel like we're listening, we can point people in the right direction, then we're all working together.
Yeah. So if for any listener who wants to get involved in a challenge or the new menopause group, what are the steps? What do they need to do?
Well, so I tell people the biggest steps is obviously you can reach out to us on either social media or going to our website. So I always tell people there's a form on our website. It is the only automated thing that we have. But once that information is sent, that person's information is sent to us, it is immediately responded to by either my personal cell or Sarah's personal cell. So I always tell people, like, as soon as that goes in, it's not going to be a series of automational stuff and a constant like beating of these text messages and emails. We're pretty like constant on like, hey, this person came in. Hey, where can we help you out? This is their personal cell phone number. Just text me right back, and when we can schedule something as quick as possible. So that's one of those things that we tell people, like, it's a personal touch that we think is super important. It's kind of gone away a little bit in a lot of businesses, and in the fitness spaces, it's one area that we tell people all the time or people tell us all the time, like, that was the part that I like. I didn't get pushed to a robot and then received 40 emails about stuff that didn't matter. Like, you immediately like got to it and you started to ask me questions. So the website is a really fast way. I feel like going to our website and filling out that short form, and then someone will be in contact. I tell people, like, our goal is within less than 4 hours for us to, like, usually we're faster even than that.
Yeah.
Like, so
One of us is calling.
yeah.
And again, we want to know what people's goals are to make sure that we can help them.
Yeah.
Like, we don't think what we are necessarily the perfect fit for everyone, but we really truly want to help people. So when they reach out to us, we're asking all the questions to find out what they're trying to accomplish and see if one of our programs can be a good fit. And sometimes it's happened where people will come back then at a later time, or they've sent somebody else. But yeah, we try to really talk to people from the very beginning, understand what they're looking for, and get them some answers or knowledge in the right direction, and fit them into one of our programs as best we can. So
Yeah.
Awesome.
So how often do you do the 90-day challenge?
Yeah. So the 90-day challenge, we only do it twice a year. The reason why is we usually give away anywhere from $3,000 to $5,000 to the best transformation. So we split it between the males and females. So, a lot of challenges you'll see out there are being ran constantly. We find that it's best if we do it in a 2 times a year increment. We space and we take a lot of things into account. Holidays, kids getting out of schools. We've been doing this since 2014. And it's evolved over the years. And we've been told by people like, hey, Grant, the challenge ends the same weekend that Thanksgiving is. Like, that's not going to work. And I'm like, oh, I didn't think about that. Like, I'm not giving up Thanksgiving. So, like, I'm not doing that. And I'm like, all right. So it's, it's been learning lessons from amazing clients that have told us, like, hey, here's what I would have loved to have seen, or what's missing, and every time we just kind of make it a little bit better. And it's, some people that come back are like, this challenge is different than it was 3 years ago when I did it. So definitely evolving, because we're learning more things and stuff like that from meeting with other people and stuff.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So when is the next 90-day challenge?
Yeah. So February 16th is when we kick off our next 90-day challenge, and it'll run through May 18th. And so that really gives people just right after Valentine's Day, but before school gets out. And it's really a good spot. We tell people now's the time to build that summer body. So, and the other thing that Grant and I were talking about is, even though the program is starting February 16th, we'd love for people to contact us now and for us to start having the conversations now and kind of get them used to the facility and building some habits, so that when the 90-day challenge comes, they get all 90 days to results.
Full benefit.
Yeah.
Awesome.
And then your menopause challenge, or I don't know, what is that what you're calling it? What
Program.
Program.
We're currently in the stage of building awareness. We'd like to get enough volume where it makes sense to really have that community. But, our goal here is, by the end of January, beginning of February, to kick off that program. It's going to be it's 6 weeks. Again, the goal is to really help bring awareness and knowledge around the topic, and really help some women who maybe are struggling get right in the right direction. So at this point, we're still trying to build awareness around the program. So again, we really appreciate the podcast for that reason as well.
And that was the thing too. Like, we look at the coastal areas and people are talking about it more in those areas. It's still a little bit harder for women around here to talk about it, I feel like. So because they've maybe been shunned or just kind of pushed to the side on it. So that's what, we've been talking about. Like, hey, how do we get to where women, like she said, she probably has women on the regular, hey, I saw this. Is that real? Is that like a thing? Like, I was told it's not a thing. And, for us, the hardest part sometimes is it was a traditional doctor that told them, no, it's not menopause, or has thrown something at them. So, like, we have to kind of overcome somebody that is not in the biggest favor of the idea of that thinks menopause is taboo or fake or just deal with it, suck it up kind of mentality. That is the old mentality of, like, it is what it is. And so that makes it a little challenging sometimes. Let these ladies no, that's not just how it's supposed to be. There's some things that you can do
for sure
to definitely alleviate this, and still some of those things are happening, but, like, there's other things to come. Like, let's make sure that those things that come don't become a problem.
Exactly.
Yeah. There's so many things that can be done for women with menopause. So, and unfortunately, they just don't get that in traditional Western medicine world, if you will, these days. So, as you alluded to, a lot of times you'll see women just kind of reaching out to other women instead of reaching out to their provider. So they're gaining that information. So,
well, and we talked about this too, like, you guys probably have this. I have people all the time fight me on that women's initiative. So hearing Mary Claire talk about the women's initiative, then me going again and doing my thing. I'm a research person, so I'm reading about like which are the mess ups and so like as a person that is not a doctor, they're like, well, the women's initiative and breast cancer. I'm like, hey, listen, like that's not exactly what it's when like that was done incorrectly. Like and so they kind of have a tendency to look at me weird. And I'm like, okay, if I can get them in front of somebody that's got a doctor title behind them or someone that's more specialized in that, like, hey, so I have a tendency to send them like, hey, here's Mary Claire stuff, or here's another doctor I know, like listen to them talk about it. And that's a little bit. So I think we're still in that stage, at least where we're at, people trying to be like, okay, maybe there was some false information given out.
Yeah. We're constantly having to do that too. Try to educate
Seeds.
people. Yeah.
I feel like just keep planting the seeds.
Truth will come out.
Yeah.
Thank you guys so much for taking the time to sit down, and we'll be sure to put your website in the show notes so that people can find you. And I will definitely keep everyone updated on my progress towards a pull-up.
And we'd love to keep collaborating. So thanks again.
Yeah. And we'll keep trying to spread the word about menopause and the options. Thanks.
Stay.
Have a great day. Bye-bye.